Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Sig Sauer SP 2022. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at this pistol. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are used to seeing my Glock videos and my 1911 videos that are probably going to point out the fact that you've never seen a SIG on this channel. And I didn't necessarily buy this gun for me. I bought it based on input that you guys have given me and things that you want to see on the channel. A lot of people say they want something that's affordable, they want something that's reliable, they want something from a good brand, they want something that's really ergonomic, but they don't want to pay a ridiculous amount and they don't want it to be a Glock. I mean, there's just some people out there who just don't like Glocks, don't want Glocks, and I completely understand that. You know, they're not for everybody, and not every single gun is for everybody, just like this one's not going to be for everybody as well. But based on that, I went out to my FFL and we looked around the case, and with those thoughts in mind, we ended up coming up with this SP 2022, and it kind of meets all the criteria that people are talking about. This is an affordable gun, it's polymer, it has a lot of the great features that people are looking for. It is 9mm, so it's a very popular caliber. It is not super expensive because it is the polymer frame version of some of the other more expensive Sig Sauer models. I mean, some of the things are different, but still, it's a more affordable Sig Sauer, so it's got that name brand behind it, the good warranty behind it, and so forth. But I really felt like it met a lot of the criteria that people were kind of asking for when they were talking about guns that I could possibly review in the future. So we have the SP 2022 here, and I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. I took this gun out with zero expectations. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, I was going to give you guys my complete and honest opinion on it. You know, I spent my hard-earned money on this, and I was excited to try it out. And to be honest with you, being the fact that it's a SIG and an affordable SIG, I did have high hopes. When I came back from my first day of shooting, however, my mind was changed, okay? I love this gun right here. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the details and features, and then we'll kind of address the elephant in the room, some comparisons and some differences that you might have to other SIG pistols and other pistols as well. You're looking at a 3.9-inch barrel. This is kind of a heavy pistol. It weighs over 29 ounces, and for a polymer frame pistol, that's kind of on the high side, so it's a little bit heavy. It is a double action, single action, okay? So you can either pull the trigger and the hammer's gonna come back and slam forward with one pull of the trigger, or you can bring the slide back, bring the hammer back, whatever, and then pull the trigger and you're gonna get your single action pull. You're talking about basically 10 pounds for the double action and 4 pounds for the single action. So that's pretty much on average as well. The trigger I found was really nice. It was actually nicer than I expected as well, especially the single action trigger. The single action trigger, the only downside that I found was the reset was a little bit longer than what I'm used to, and that might be just a downside to the fact that I have a lot of upgraded triggers in most of my pistols, so I'm used to a really short reset. Even a standard reset might catch me off guard if I'm grabbing just a standard stock OEM factory trigger. So I can't really hold that against this. It seemed a little bit long, but that might not be the case. Still, the single action trigger was extremely nice, very crisp. You could anticipate where the break was, and it felt great. The recoil was very, very manageable. 9mm is not too hard anyway. I mean, obviously 9mm is very easy for most people to shoot, but it was, I'd say, between the recoil impulse and the trigger pull and the ergonomics of this gun, it was really enjoyable to shoot. So 29 ounces, 3-inch barrel. You have the option between going from the SIG night sights, which come on a lot of these model pistols, the 2022, in either 40 Smith & Wesson or 9mm, or you can get it without and save a little bit of money, and that's what I did. These are standard 3-dot sights. They are not the SIG light night sights, and that saves you a bit of money. So if you are somebody who's on a tight budget, you still want a good quality gun that is not a Glock, then, you know, take out the night sights. That's one thing that you don't necessarily have to go with. It does have a rail on the front. You can see that I have the Olight PL Mini Valkyrie on it right now. It has a decocker on the side. Your slide lever comes all the way back right here. And I've actually seen some positives and negatives about that slide lock, slide release, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I felt like this is actually more ergonomic than some of the other pistols that I've fired. The fact that it has this long rod that leads it all the way back here means that my thumb can grab it nice and easy. I can release the slide with my thumb if I'd like to. I can activate the decocker if I'd like to, all without really changing my grip. So it has the decocker, it has a slide lock that comes all the way back to your thumb. Again, double single action, 3.9 inch barrel. And it has a very similar frame size and dimensions as a Glock 19. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But let's first address the elephant in the room. Now, for me, the elephant in the room is that this is not a 226. And it was never intended to be a 226. If you're looking at this and comparing it to the 226, if you ask me, you're doing it wrong. SIG has pretty much the same looking pistols all the way through their lineup. So if you look at this SIG right here and you compare it to a 226 or a 227 or some of the other SIGs that are out there, you're going to notice that they all fairly look the same. But this is the SP, the SIG Pro 2022 with different controls. It's got a polymer frame. It's a different handgun, and it was always designed to be a different handgun. But it is about half the cost, and I'm not kidding, half the cost of a 226. And the great thing about this gun now is that the price has come down quite a bit since it first came out. And since it's come down quite a bit, it's made it a lot more affordable, and we have a lot more time behind it, so you can look back and see whether or not this has a good track record or not. In the very beginning when this came out, obviously there was no track record to go back and look at, but now you can see that people have had great success with this firearm. It is extremely reliable, it's proven itself, and as a matter of fact, this has actually been adopted by the military, it's been adopted by law enforcement all across the world for several different reasons. I think one of them being the fact that it's about the same size as a Glock 19, so it's just in that little Goldilocks zone if you ask me. About the same size as a Glock 19, but it's a SIG. So for those people that hate that palm swell on that Glock or feel like their aim is off when they present it in front of them, and you want something with a better point of aim, better ergonomics or whatever, then you're looking at the SIG 2022. And it comes in at a much better price, and I think that's why some militaries and some law enforcement have adopted it. It just kind of fits the mold in a lot of different ways. It should not be overlooked. This is not a gun to overlook simply because it's not its bigger brother. Now, when you buy the SP 2022, you get a couple things with it. You get an interchangeable backstrap, which is interesting because it's not really like a backstrap. It's sort of like a side and backstrap. As a matter of fact, there's the crease, the seam right here is just behind the trigger guard, and the same on the other side. And you take this whole piece off, almost like the entire grip. You'd pull that off and then replace it with the other larger backstrap, depending on what type of hands you are. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to be replacing this with the slightly larger one because this one's a little bit small for me. So you get that. Mine did come with 2 magazines. Now, depending on what type of state you live in, if you live in a free state, you're going to have a 15-round magazine. If you live in a non-free state like me, you get one of these little 10-round magazines right here with that stupid plastic thing at the bottom right there, which kind of limits me to the 10 rounds. But I got 2 of those, and you get a holster. So that's what you get with it. It doesn't come totally bare. It's nice that it does come with 2 magazines. And it is a solid performing handgun right out of the box. All I did was just do a little bit of lubricating on it. I used some shooter lube, and I went out and shot it. And I shot hundreds of rounds without one single malfunction the entire first day at least. Now, one of the things I really like about this gun is that I don't have to change out the sights unless I want to put night sights on it. And that's because the sights are already metal and the 3 dots are very big, very easy to use, and very easy to line up. I felt that this gun was extremely accurate, which was obviously aided by the sights themselves. You're able to get a nice 3-dot lineup. Follow-up shots are really easy because the recoil is light. The reset, again, is a little bit long, but still good. It's audible, it's tactile, and allows you to get that follow-up shot nice and easy. And so you have really nice, good metal sights on here, and there's nothing that you need to do to this gun. If you're one of those people that likes to buy a gun, just leave it the way it is, you can absolutely do that with this, and you're going to have a gun that's going to last you forever. You know, you're going to get a lot of polymer frame haters out there who just, are stuck with the metal frames, but that's just preferential. They like the metal frame, they like a fully heavy gun, but polymer frames have been around for decades and decades now and have proven themselves to be a reliable way to have a frame on a pistol. So I wouldn't even sweat the guys who hate the polymer frame stuff. A lot of it's just, they're just trying to, get noisy. Now, like I said at the beginning, I bought this pistol right here just for the channel. I figured that this would be a good option for a lot of people out there, which kind of leads me into the next reason that I bought it. In California, we have a roster of approved handguns that are safe for sale in the state of California. Of course, law enforcement doesn't apply, so I guess they don't care. The California government, that is, as they don't care that you know, law enforcement may be potentially carrying around unsafe handguns. But as a regular civilian, we have a list of handguns that has been pre-approved for safety reasons, so they say. And this is on the list. That list keeps getting smaller and smaller every single year because under Arnold Schwarzenegger, they implemented micro-stamping laws. And with that micro-stamping law, any new pistol that wants to be approved for that list has to have that micro-stamping technology. If they don't, that new pistol will not be approved. So we don't have a lot of the handguns that you guys have in the rest of the country, which is really horrible. Like, we're stuck at a Gen 3 Glock. We don't have Gen 4, Gen 5, and so forth. So our list of guns that we can have is slim. You know, there's very few that we can actually get from these different manufacturers. This right here is a good option that's still available in California. It's relatively easy to find. Again, it's a good price point, but it's still on the roster. We can get Gen 3 Glocks, we can get, you know, some of the CZs, definitely not all of the CZs, especially some of the newer CZs, and we can get, you know, SIGs. We saw the 227, the 226, we have the 2022 and so forth. So SIG is definitely a good option. And another reason why I bought it, because I know a lot of my audience does live in California, and you're looking for roster-approved handguns that kind of fit your needs. And since they're so few and far between, the 2022 is definitely something that you might want to take a look at. Now, in light of all the policy changes at YouTube, if I get deleted here, you can also follow me over on Full30. I do have a Facebook page, The Daily Shooter 1776, Instagram at The Daily Shooter 76, and I also have a Patreon. I'll put links to everything down below. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.